OTC Stock Talk. We're into a Q&A with TONR, Toner Worldwide. I'm looking forward to this conversation. There's a lot of people wanting to know what's happening with this company. They've been on here before, but they are back to explain what's going on. I can't wait to see this. Guys, if you have a second, go and share this space. DM some people, let them know. Directly following the Q&A, we're going to have an open mic where everybody gets a chance to talk about the stock they're looking at, the due diligence behind it, and I'm excited to know there's quite a few companies that haven't been discussed lately that may just be brought up today, so everybody should tune in. Thank you so much for joining us at OTC Stock Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, where all of our spaces are turned into videos and shared with you and thumbnailed, so you can go right back to the exact place in the process you want to be at. We're here for you. We're here to build a community. We're here to trade together, and we're here to make life a little bit easier for those in the OTC space. Shido, OTC Method Man, what's up? I sent you guys a invite to co-host. Do you have it? All right, everybody, we're about to get started here. If you would, please go and share this space. Tweet us out. DM some friends. Let them know to come and join the conversation. We're going to be doing a Q&A with TONR. There's a lot of people in this stock. They've been cheering on something that's going to transpire, and we've been in this lull of not knowing what's going on. So Trent and Stacey are here with us today to answer questions and catch everybody up to speed with what's happening and where the company is going. So without further ado, let's get started. Trent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming on OTC Stock Talk, man.
We are thrilled to be here. You know, you said it's been a long time. It hasn't been that long, but it's been too long, if that makes sense.
It does. It does, man. Last time you were here, you were talking a lot about this app called Maddie.
Yes.
Is there anything new with Maddie? And could you tell people briefly what it is again?
Yeah, there's a lot new, and I'm actually just tweeting out right now that we're on here. And before I answer that question, okay, since I'm the one who's been around the company the longest, we decided to kind of switch things up, and so I'm going to kind of go first and set the stage and introduce Stacey to you guys. And I think it's only befitting that she's introduced as opposed to her just coming in cold. So I can tell you guys this, that since the last time we've talked, there has been a change in who's calling the shots, and Miss Melton is still acting in a consulting capacity with the company, but I am absolutely thrilled that Stacey Torres is at the helm of this company right now, and there's so many things going on, and all of them are great, but you know, just the handoff between Ms. Melton and Stacey, and there are a lot of overlap and things like that, that some of that still is happening now. But, you know, we're in a fantastic position. We've got a great leader. And there have been a lot of questions, and I just want to address this about, well, Trent, are you going to be the CEO of TONR, or why aren't you going to be the CEO of TONR? And I'll tell you, to be honest with you guys, Stacey is the right choice for this company. Okay. And there's many reasons. But one of the things I can say is that I am better served being a support system for TONR, okay, because I have the freedom and flexibility to move around and do what I need to do and always help support the company. And we'll be talking about some of the things that I'm going to be working with, specifically tying into TONR in order to really start to kick ass as far as this stock price and everything else is concerned. So it's an exciting time, but let me just go ahead and answer your question. So your first question was about Matt, right?
Yes, it was about Maddie, but you stole a question right out of my mouth. It's all right. No, that's perfect. I really love the way you talked last time, and I'm seeing the strength that you have in being in that support role. I mean, it's really important to have the right team supporting you when you're going after something. If you found the CEO, the front face, and you're support, it's going to be a dynamic duo.
Yeah, it really is. And if you guys look at the filings, you can see that, you know, while I'm not intimately involved in the inside of the company and what the operations and things are, I certainly have been able to help as far as the financing of the company is concerned in a lot of ways. Debt elimination, keeping shares from flooding into the market. That's literally been a personal effort on myself and my family trust to do that, because you guys remember is that I founded this company way back in 2011, myself, Stacey, and Joanne Melton. And, you know, there's so much love and passion that we have for this company. Even when the company really wasn't doing much, we were still personally funding to keep this ticker symbol going, to keep us in the game. And so this is all kind of a byproduct of that we're still here and we're rocking and rolling and we're really strong. So I didn't mean to steal your question, but just trust me, I'm not coming to take your show. Okay.
You're great, man. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right. Let's talk about what Maddie is and why everybody was so excited about it last time we heard about it.
Okay. So Maddie is literally over the last 10 years, we've all seen the emergence of virtual assistants, okay, digital assistants. And I mean like Siri. I have a Google phone, so mine is Android based. But the concept of virtual assistants basically means moving users from manually manipulating devices in order to get an end result from it. In other words, if I can speak to my computer and it will type, that replaces or augments me needing to use my keyboard, okay? If I can speak to my phone and say, hey, Siri, give me directions here, that supplements me trying to take the time to actually interact with my phone and put in the address and everything like self. So it's basically where we're at, where we were, is we had the introduction of these digital assistants into the marketplace. But the next natural evolution was to bring more human-like qualities to these digital assistants. Siri is very good if you ask her for directions, if you ask her what movie is coming up at the local movie theater, where's a good place to eat dinner, but she's not really a good friend, okay? She's not somebody you can really talk and interact with. So what we started to do was to move the capabilities of Siri and of Android digital assistants and move it into the world of a more interactive, visual, conversational dynamic, as opposed to just giving commands and those commands are followed, okay? Our first foray into this was to use Maddie to interact with the MetaTrader trading platform, where someone could literally talk to their computer and put trades in, or do their day trading or swing trading or whatever. They could do that using the Maddie. Unfortunately, a couple of months ago, and not even really a couple of months, probably about a month and a half, MetaTrader Corporation decided to completely pull the MetaTrader software away from prop firms in the United States. So that literally just wiped out about 80% of our market that we were going for with Maddie and her interaction with MetaTrader. But again, and I have to give this credit to Miss Melton, because originally Maddie was single faceted, but she was like, you know, this would really be great if we can almost create our own Siri type of environment that has specific applications. And so we're like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, which led us to where we're at now, which is called conversational AI. Okay. So Maddie is now, she has the capability to do all kinds of things. Specifically, what we're using her for is inbound and outbound phone calls for medium to large size businesses. Okay. What we're focused on is scale businesses. So enterprise level, which means basically, let's say you have a real estate firm that needs to follow up with 200 leads in the course of a week. That's what a lot of real estate agents have to do. Well, Maddie can come in and make those 200 calls in 5 minutes, because she can call and have an intellectual, intelligent conversation with 200 people at the exact same time using multiple phone lines. So she's more efficient. She doesn't make mistakes. She doesn't need to take a lunch break. She doesn't get sick. So it's the perfect solution. And that's one of the things that we've done by morphing Maddie into now a conversational AI platform.
That's crazy. I'm ready to hire you. Wow.
Well, we haven't been able to teach her how to do a radio show yet, so we're working on it. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. In fact, I can't hear you.
Okay.
You there, Josh?
Oh, okay, there you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
I can, yes.
All right. Maddie was supposed to be a trading app. What happened to that?
Well, as I just explained, that's the issue, is that the reason Maddie was developed to trade on the MetaTrader platform, okay? But MetaTrader is a Russian-based company, and they made the decision to actually pull MetaTrader completely out of the United States market. So we just lost everything that we really had been developing Maddie to do. But then, like I said, Miss Melton had a suggestion when all this was kind of coming together. She was like, listen, let's create her as a multifaceted digital assistant as opposed to just for trading. And so once the MetaTrader deal fell apart, we were able to immediately move into conversational AI, which is actually a lot more viable in the market. It's a much larger market. And we're getting absolutely incredible response to what Maddie is doing in the space of inbound and outbound phone calls.
That is exciting. That's a great way to pivot. I can understand why a Russian company may have pulled out of the U.S. market with geopolitical issues that are going on. But I'm really excited to hear that you're able to offer this type of service, and I definitely want to talk to you about it later. Are there any new projects that we can look forward to?
Yeah, actually there are. And so one of the things I just talked to you guys about why I chose not to be the CEO of TONR, because I just really don't want to just have my hands tied and have to really be so on deck like that as I would have to be a CEO. But I have decided my conversational AI company that I created, which is how we ended up getting the Maddie project and everything, I have decided to merge my company into another publicly traded company. I cannot announce what that ticker symbol is yet, but what I can tell you is that I've already had conversations with Ms. Melton and with Stacey about using the power of the public company that I will be in charge with to collaborate and to work with TONR in order to build on the TONR brand. Because the bottom line is that TONR is a great company, but let's just call a spade a spade. The share structure, it's got something, it has some dings and some nicks in the paint job, okay? But this public company that I'm taking over has and this is crazy, it literally has a share structure of not even 1 million shares out in DTC. So this is pristine, absolute crystal clean public company. The stock's trading at 13 cents a share. And so what I'm going to be able to do as the CEO of that company is to be able to work with Stacey, work with TONR, and make sure that, I think Stacey said it best in her letter, the tide rises all ships. Okay. So that's one of the exciting things that's coming. And as a part of that, we're going to be doing a major conversational AI project that is actually going to involve human interaction in arenas. And just let me set the stage here, guys. Okay. So right now we all know, or you might know, that there are apps that you can get on your phone and have like a virtual girlfriend. Okay. And it's okay. I mean, it's supposed to be quote unquote conversational AI, but just imagine this, guys. Okay. And I want everybody to understand this is not a religious play, but we're a business. Okay. And what we've always done is we look for opportunities where nobody is looking. So what we're doing is creating a dynamic where this country, the United States, is 66.6 Christian. Okay. So what we're actually doing is that we're using conversational AI to actually develop an online prayer line where people can call into this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and actually interact with Maddie, who will communicate with them about whatever situation they're having and also lead prayer for them. Okay. And as a revenue model, local churches all across the country will be able to sponsor that particular session. So let's just say I have somebody in my family that died. It's 3 a.m. I'm all broken up. I just need somebody to talk to. Guess what? I'll call this virtual prayer line and I'll have my conversation and be prayed for. And it's scary how realistic this is. But what happens is that a local church in that area, so let's say someone calls in from a 713 area, which is Houston. Well, a local church's ad will be played just before or just after that session, but it will be conversational. It won't be this message brought to you by XYZ. It will be, well, if you're looking for more spiritual guidance and things like that, this is the church that is in the area. So we've already got many churches across the state of Texas now that want to sign on board and be paid sponsors of this, because again, while everybody is out there trying to chase all these bright, shiny things, what my company and what I love about what Ms. Melton did and what Stacey's also doing, we look for the markets where it's viable and nobody is knocking at those doors. So we are absolutely stoked about this project, and you'd be amazed at what these churches will pay in order to advertise their church and advertise their ministries. But this goes even farther from that. It goes outside of ministry to counseling, to consulting, to all these kind of things, because artificial intelligence has morphed into conversational AI, which is going to be the next internet. And we are right here at the forefront. So I'm going to use the power of the control of this public company and Stacey's control over here at TONR, and we're going to literally be front runners and absolute pioneers in the space of conversational AI.
That's awesome. I think that if there's a way for you to, for the AI to create like when you have a prayer request, if you could create like a channel that emails people that are members or connected to that prayer group, if it would mail them the prayer request so they could have constant prayer going on, that'd be awesome.
Well, that actually is a component. So every time someone calls into this prayer line, our artificial intelligence will ask them, would you like me to send prayer requests to other of our prayer volunteers? So we've already have a network of volunteers that will get these emails and they'll get these notifications and say, this person, they'll either say their name or they can be anonymous, needs prayer about a drug addiction or whatever. So we're literally going to be invoking the power of prayer. And again, guys, this is a business conversation, but I am not ashamed to admit nor hesitant to admit that I am a Christian man, okay? And I do believe in the power of prayer, and I do believe that especially in the times that we're seeing with everything going on in Israel now, prayer is vitally, vitally important, okay? But also there are business opportunities in this as well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking out business opportunities in this space. But what I will tell you now is that we're going to make sure that everything we do, first of all, makes sense from a financial standpoint, but second of all, makes sense as far as the brand that we want to have with my public company and also with TONR, because this whole thing was started to try to improve and help people's lives. But this conversational AI, I mean, and if you guys aren't listening, you need to write this down. This is the next internet. And we are here at the forefront of that. So it's just a crazy, exciting time. And there's so many different ways that this can go.
I'm excited. What I'm thinking about, Stacey, bottom left, I sent you an invite to speak. You've got to accept that in order to come up to talk when the time is there. She's still in the room?
Yeah, I saw her there. Well, let's see. She was there, but if
I don't see her now.
Let me see. 7 other listeners. I don't know if she dropped off or anything, but I'll shoot her a text real quick. But while we're waiting her back, let's just have fun and I'll talk for her.
No, I'm excited about this prayer thing. That's awesome. I mean, I know people that have started helplines for people that are interested in committing suicide or something, and they get on there and they pray with them and talk with them through it, and they guide them to the right places if they need help or support. But I mean, it's really powerful when you know there's a group of people that are praying nonstop. And I know everybody can't be on 24/7, but that doesn't mean there can't always be somebody checked into the group that's on and able to pray over things for people. And that's powerful.
Well, I can tell you now, we have over 640 volunteers across the world, okay, that will get these prayer requests. So it's not possible for 24/7 prayer coming from the United States, but it is possible for it to be happening, okay? But again, the value of the conversational AI is this. Conversational AI never has an attitude. It never has a bad day. It never gets annoyed with the next question, okay? And that's really the key, is that sometimes people just want to talk and they don't want to be talked to, and they don't want to be counseled or anything like that. So what makes sense with this is it's a place where people can go completely anonymous, where they can have these conversations, have these dialogues. And if help is requested. There's all kind of other things that can be done. Now, another space that we're going to be moving into with this technology is the human resources space. For example, a young lady is at a job and she feels like that someone has sexually harassed her, okay? But she doesn't necessarily want to call HR because everybody's scared to call HR because they think that, you know, that they may get in trouble for calling. So we actually have developed a virtual human resources line that where we can ingest the entire human resources manual of this company or of any company into the brain of these digital agents, so someone can call in, they can have a conversation and give a complete report and everything to the conversational AI. And if they want it to go up the chain and they don't want to be anonymous, it'll ask them their name and everything. But if they want to do an anonymous report, it can. One of the biggest things that HR directors in major corporations and enterprise level businesses run into all the time is wasted time, with people calling in and doing minor complaints about, oh, this guy looked at me, or I don't like the hair policy, or I don't like the dress code. And these HR directors are losing time and efficiency. So that's one of the components that we're working on. And we're already in conversations with 2 of the major health club chains across the country to roll out this conversational AR and these HR hotlines in order for people to be able to, employees to be able to use them to report minor incidents or to have questions and answers. And that has dovetailed into several colleges and universities that want to use these conversational AI lines in order for students to be able to call in and be able to get questions and answers directly from the student handbook. So if I'm new on a college campus and I want to know what this policy is, whatever, I don't have to go into a book and try to read it, which, you know, kids today really don't read as much as we'd like them to. But they can call in this number and say, hey, I live in this dorm, in this dormitory, and I want to know what the policy is on in and out privileges. And that information has already been ingested into the brain of these agents. It is absolutely mind-blowing technology that we've got here, and we're literally at the forefront, lowest cost base per minute. And most of our model is going to be putting this technology into these companies at zero cost. If you type in conversational AI right now, you will see all kind of companies, and it's just like the internet bubble. Everybody's got this and this and this next best thing to offer. But guess what? At the end of the day, what you don't have is a situation where people can get into the technology for free. Most of them are talking about $25,000 up front, $5,000 up front. So what we will be in the marketplace is a $0. It doesn't even matter if you're an enterprise level company. $0 for us to implement these agents into your business, and then you just pay a monthly fee and then a per minute rate. And that's how we're going to take over the market. And right now, everybody's been afraid to do this because everybody's trying to ride off of the emotional wave of conversational AI, and they're basically gouging these customers for this technology. I can tell you it's not hard to program these things. Okay, and I see that Stacey's back also.
Hey, Stacey, I'm sending you an invite to speak. Make sure you click the microphone on the bottom left to accept that. In the bottom left of your screen, you'll see a microphone. Just tap that, and you'll accept my invite.
Okay, and while you're waiting on her to accept that invite, you can just let me know what she does. Let me just kind of give you some background on how the decision was made for Stacey to actually be in the position that she's in now. Stacey worked with TONR way back when, in just a volunteer capacity. A friend of hers was working in the business, and she volunteered. And then as Miss Melton got to know Stacey more, Stacey started to show her work ethic and things like that. She actually got an opportunity to actually come inside the company and do some limited engagement work. And I will tell you is that when the decisions and the conversations around who to look at to put this thing in her hands, Stacey's name was right at the top. She has extensive background in the corporate arena. I'll let her talk about that, but she absolutely is just she's a visionary, and Stacey is an off the cuff thinker. She's a person that looks at something, she sees opportunity, but she's very meticulous and what's the best approach to take with that. And she's had many, many conversations. I was just talking to Miss Melton earlier with her about, okay, you were here for all these years. What's this and how's this and how's this? So she has absolutely zero ego, zero attitude, and all enthusiasm. And that's one of the things that I really love about the fact that she's over there at TONR doing what she's doing. So she's just an exciting personality to have around. And you guys will certainly hear that once she comes on board in the conversation.
That's exciting to hear. Stacey, let's do this a different way. Click the microphone on the bottom left corner of your screen if you're on your mobile device, and that will request for you to speak. That way I can accept your request if you can't see mine. So you tap the microphone and request to speak, and I'll accept that right away. You can hear me, right, Trent?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. I take it Stacey is, from the look of her account, new to Twitter. Or X, sorry.
Yes, I believe that Stacey just, and that's another thing I really like about her. She's not a big social media hangout person and never has. But let me tell you what, let me do this. Let me just generate a quick call real quick. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. All right, go ahead. All right, guys, for everybody that's in this in the space right now, go ahead and share the space. If you would follow us on YouTube, you can find JRC Spaces or JRC Stocks on YouTube. We are going to actually turn this Q&A into an individual video. We're going to thumbnail each individual question that's asked so that you can go right to where the question is of the information you want to find. And we encourage you, make comments, engage with us. We do pay attention. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And obviously, we can also steer you directly to the company so you can keep in contact with them and direct any of your investor relations questions that you might have directly to the company itself. We're all about transparent communication, and I think that as investors and traders, that's something that really is the greatest of value. All right, Stacey is, there we go. I'm sending an invite to speak again. And to click the microphone, you'll be able to accept that invite. So what a day today! I'm happy to see the direction.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I actually, she's having some major issues, and we had this problem the last time that we called in. But what I did, I got her on my speakerphone. So let me see if I can work a little magic here and get her plugged in to this. And
awesome.
Let's try that. Okay. All right, you can hear me?
Skin a cat. That's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely right. And even if I have to play translator, I can do that. So let me put Stacey on speakerphone and put her up to my microphone. Okay, Stacey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Could everybody hear her?
Yes, hear it very clearly.
All right, cool deal. Okay, and Stacey, can you hear the interviewer speaking?
Yes, I can.
All right, well, let's do this. Okay. That's awesome. Before there's any other technical difficulties, Twitter's still working out Spaces, but I'm glad that we have great minds that can get around that. All right, yes. Stacey, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I've been working with TONR for a few years now, and I've been really just behind the scenes, kind of hidden. And as for myself, I've worked with large pharmaceutical companies and home builder companies, and helping progress in growth and strength, and just really improving with technical growth in the industry.
Okay.
I'm having some connection issues on my end, so I'm going to be cutting in and out.
Yeah, she said she's having some connection issues, so she'll be cutting in and out. So I'll try to fill in any.
Twitter's very fickle on the connection issues. If you have low bandwidth, it tends to kick you off. So let me get the next question out. Like, what made you decide to take a role of CEO on TONR?
Stacey, his question was, what made you decide to take on the role of CEO at TONR? Uh-oh, I might have lost her. Okay, there she is.
New CEO role. So my decision to take that role on was, it's just a new opportunity for growth in this booming AI industry. I see a lot of opportunity for us here, and it seemed like a new challenge for me.
Congratulations on stepping forward into a new challenge. What do you see in the near future for the company?
He asked, what do you see in the near future for the company?
Increasing in development, working towards growth and profitability.
And I'm sorry, her phone's cutting in and out. Stacey, could you say that again?
Increasing in development and working towards growth, profitability.
Okay, were you able to hear that response?
Oh, definitely. I heard it for the second time. Now, do you foresee being able to start generating revenue from the AI HR platform and the outbound calling platform here in the near future?
Okay, so he's asking, do you see growth opportunities for the future? Kind of what's your prospect for the future as far as the growth of the company in the AI space with the HR and with kind of some of the platforms that we're talking about with doing with this technology? Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think she's because I think her Twitter was on her phone.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, and I just lost her, so I'll just wait till she reaches back to me. But I'm still here, so.
Well, I'm curious, how far out in the future do you see turning on the revenue of the AI platform?
Well, the beautiful thing, the revenue has already started. So just today, the company launched a major casino parties company in the Houston area. Their name is I Host Casino Parties, and they do all kind of events for major oil and gas businesses, all the industries, especially Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's parties, stuff like that. So they are one of the biggest and the best. In fact, the owner of I Host Casino Parties was one of the people who brought one of the first major poker clubs to the state of Texas. So they were shown this technology a couple of months ago. Absolutely love it, and they needed it because they're having so many inbound calls that are coming in, people scheduling events, and what this technology is able to do, it's actually able to get all the information that the potential customer wants on when they want to book the event, how they want to book the event, how many poker tables, what they want, how many attendees, everything. And then the system is able to automatically interact with them to answer any of the what we call typical time wasting questions that people have when they're new to something. So this AI is literally taking 20-minute initial calls down to 3 or 4 minute calls because people are calling in, they're giving specific information if they want, and the AI is able to guide them through that conversation through a real everyday speak to me English. It's not any of that press 1 for this, press 2 for this. It's an actual conversation. The AI is then able to interact with ChatGPT, summarize the conversation, and send a lead sheet to the casino parties company where they're able to follow up and go ahead and book. But the AI can also book the event, put it on the calendar and everything while the person's on the phone. So this is the first big major company that's actually coming on board for this. So revenue has already started with this company. And in July, myself, Stacey, and a couple of the others will actually be going to the conference, for the national conference for casino party owners, and we will be presenting this technology to them. And right now, just based on initial interest, it looks like we'll pick up 25 to 40 contracts while we're in Vegas for this technology. And it's pretty exciting. And if you want to just kind of do an average, look anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a month per client. So you can see how the revenues start to build really fast on this. And that doesn't include the per minute costs.
That's pretty exciting. I work with an online gambling company that just did a merger and has, I don't know, hundreds of retail locations for sportsbook, and bet in some games, and they're so I know exactly what you're speaking of. There is a great need there. That's pretty awesome that it can increase efficiency that well and source everything and guide their the clients right where they need to be. That's cool.
Yeah, it is really, really fascinating. And if any of you want to actually see and hear the technology at work, you can go to the website called AI Callers. That's AICALLERS.US. Okay. And there are some examples from the human resources, the casino party company. There's some examples of what this technology can do. But it's really, really exciting stuff.
Where is Stacey?
I don't know. I see that she's dropped off of Twitter. Her phone hung up when I was talking to her. That got disconnected, and it looks like she dropped off of Twitter. So it looks like we're having some serious little technical issues on this. It reminds me of last time. Last time we almost weren't able to get on, but you know what? This is new technology, and I mean that's one of the exciting and frustrating things is that sometimes the technology doesn't work, but it's so great because it makes messaging and communicating so easy.
Yeah, reception is king with the Spaces part now. I mean, I had to relocate where I was hosting Spaces from, and I haven't had any connection issues since that day. Man, I look forward to having a follow-up conversation with Stacey. Let's launch. Let's see the launch of the first few clients come through and how that's progressing. And I'll have her back on for a free conversation in one of our open mic sessions to share with everybody an update on how revenue is working, how the new clients are taking to the AI services, and go from there, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, this may sound cool to you. When you do that, why don't we also have one of the conversational AI robots on the call, and you can interview her?
That sounds great. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I think that would be really. I just thought about that, but I was like, you know what, that would make sense. So you can actually do an interview with that, and when people hear it, they're just blown away. And I don't want to belabor this conversation, but one of the things that is so exciting about this, and everybody should be excited, is that you can look around and all these conversational AI companies that are springing up. They're all on the bubble. Okay, just like the internet, when it came, everybody had an internet idea. But what's the companies that are going to last in this space are the companies that find a way to make this cost effective, just like phone service. Because you all remember the day when cell phone service was not something everybody could afford. Okay. But the phone companies got smart and they realized, you know what, we need to get away with this per message, minutes, text messaging and stuff like that, and make this an affordable thing. And those are the companies that are going to last. But here's the more exciting thing. There's no conversational AI companies out there that you can invest in and that have a ticker symbol. So when you really look at what makes not only the stock attractive, but what makes, just the business model attractive is that you literally are involved in something that is right there on the forefront at the cutting edge of technology. And the approach that TONR has taken with this, and which the same approach I'm taking with my company, we're not trying to make it complicated. We're not trying to act like this is just, something that just nobody can get in touch with, because you're making it very difficult for people to understand. The sales process for this is contact a business, put together an agent, give them a phone number, let them call the agent, see what it can do. And we're booking appointments to go ahead and get people signed up and closed. So I'll tell you, this is really, really an exciting time. And out of all the iterations of what TONR has had to go through in the last 4 or 5 years, I will tell you from an outsider's perspective, this is the most exciting, and it's the thing that has the most potential because the application is everywhere and it does not require selling. This service does not require us to sell at all. All we have to do is demo it, play it, and then let people know that they can get into it for free, and we've got the business.
I've got a question for you. I mean, I remember last time we spoke, you talked about quite a few different mergers that were in the works. I know you're not Stacey, but can you share why they were called off and what was going on with that?
Yeah, I can speak about this from because I know Stacey did a shareholder letter, so I'm just basically going to give some color of what I have understood from that. Okay. Now I want to give a disclaimer here. I'm saying understood because I'm not privileged to really any inside information on stuff like that, but just from what I've understood, just basically from Stacey's letter. So one of the things that I do know, which was a really, really big deal, because this would even affected some of our licensing relationships with TONR, was that both of those deals, if they were going to happen, both companies were asking for a reverse split.
Oh.
Okay. Yes. And what I know specifically about Miss Melton is that when she said no reverse split, she meant no reverse split. And I'm going to say this as an outsider, and guys, don't hold the company responsible for what I'm about to say. Some of you really need to chill out and take a chill pill and not read everything as something's been done to you or you're being scammed or taken advantage of. You have no idea the decisions that people that are sitting in these C-suite chairs have to make, and they can't talk about it every day. Miss Melton could not, and Stacey, they cannot get on Twitter every day and talk all the company's internal business. And it's amazing to me how many people immediately go negative when something goes wrong. But how would the company feel if they did mergers and then all of a sudden a reverse split is being shoved down your throat? So I do know absolutely, and I do know that was, you know, one of the things that had been asked about. Again, I don't have any details. I don't know anything. And again, I'm really going off of more of a I think I know as opposed to I do know. But I can tell you now is that if that was specifically a deal.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
There's no way in hell that Miss Melton was going to do that deal. It was not going to happen because reverse split is just a middle finger to the shareholders, and it was just not going to happen. Okay. Now I'm sure Stacey will speak about that more on the next time we call. I'm sure her or some of her people are listening to this. You may even see some type of update on Twitter about that, or through a 8K or a press release or whatever. But what I do know is that there's no way that your CEO was going to drop a reverse split on you guys. I'll tell you that now. And I will also tell you is that don't think that people have probably not recommended that the company do that. I'm sure that it's happened. I don't know for certain, but I'm just talking as an outsider here. But at the end of the day, though, that's what I do have at least a reliable sense of thinking is that the reverse split was a deal killer.
Yeah, reverse splits are tend to be a negative subject for a lot of people. So glad to hear that. I mean, I know that if you get to a place where you're looking to uplist, that's a great time for one, but you don't need to until then.
Absolutely. And like I said, is that, you know, that doing something like that, I think would send shockwaves across the market, and it would affect all kind of other things, even some of the outside relationships that I'm going to be able to bring to the company, you know, with my other public companies. So I'm just glad that decision wasn't made. I can tell by looking on Discord and Twitter and stuff, there's a lot of disappointment in that. But I'll tell you that if you want to assume that something was being done underhanded or wrong, then you're just a fool. The bottom line is that Miss Melton and Stacey made a decision that was absolutely the best one to make for the company.
That's awesome. Thanks for the answer. So we do have a straight, clear path forward. We're moving forward with AI services and already have revenue coming in with the first deal being done. And you're looking to be signing on casino companies and offering the ability for AI to help manage a lot of their intake process on the sales side. Is that correct?
That is correct. And how that translates to the company of why they would invest in the technology, bottom line, it saves them time and money.
That matters a lot to people.
Yes, absolutely.
And if it's saving them time and money, that's a clear sign they don't have to pay for the manpower to do it, which is really expensive, and a liability because you have to take care of the workman's comp and all kinds of other insurance stuff. So it makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at it. How much does it cost to pay an employee to answer the phones? I mean, you've got your savings right there.
Yeah, too much. All right, guys, do you want me to open up the call to any questions from the audience?
I'm fine with that. I did not expect to be here doing this by myself, but I'm totally fine with it. I'll do the best I can. I just want to make sure everybody understands I'm not speaking on behalf of the company. I'm not an executive or a control person in the company. So if I give you kind of I can't talk to you about that or because I don't know answer, just don't hold it against me.
No problem. Hey, you can only answer what you have the ability to answer.
Yes, sir.
First person up is Paul's Portfolio. You've been asking to speak the entire time. So, Paul, if you would unmute yourself, do you have a question for TONR?
Yes. Hi, Trent.
Hey, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for taking the time out today to answer questions and go over as much as you can. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question for you in the most respectful way, but I'll just ask it bluntly, right?
Absolutely.
So you own essentially all the restricted shares in the stock, or that were restricted. So anything that has become unrestricted, it's safe to say that they're owned by you, correct?
Not correct, but I have owned quite a bit of them. Yes.
Except for maybe a very small portion, but I would say at least 90% or 90% is owned by you
Well,
from the filings.
Well, honestly, because I don't read the filings and I don't have any information from inside the company, I'll take your word for that number. I only know what I have access to.
So when we see sales and dilution happening, not on a daily basis, but on a bi-daily or tri-daily basis, is it you that is selling? Is it the company that's diluting shares? Because what is it with that? Because we can't seem to get any clarification on that. So is it, again, and with all due respect, is it you? Because you own a lot. So is it you that's selling every day, or who is it? Because we see it on level 2 live.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So I can only speak for what I know, and what I know is what I do personally. I am a big funder of the company. I have put and continue to put money into the company. My family trust has always also given some equity in a real estate project, and also has committed to do some other funding. And one of the reasons that that's happened is to keep shares from coming into the marketplace, not necessarily at all, but keep them coming in an irresponsible way. I'll give you an example. I know when I was with the company back in 2013 and 14, just when the Walmart deal was happening, there were 6 toxic lenders in the stock at the same time. All of them were converting, all of them were dumping shares, and they were being dumped in a way to manipulate the stock price down so convertible notes could be converted, so they could get a better conversion rate and get more shares. Okay. So any selling that I have done has been done at a time to where it wouldn't murder the stock, it wouldn't put undue pressure, and I could turn most of that money back around into the company, if not all of that money, at times. And see, that's kind of one of the things, the downside of the financials, some of the new rules that you have to disclose who has all this, and that's fine, but it doesn't tell the whole story of what happens with the money after it's done. So people look at it and say, oh, well, all this stock was sold and he went and bought a Mercedes with it. And that's not the case at all. The reason TONR has not had to go get outside financing from toxic lenders is because of my efforts, and also the efforts of some other people that are putting money back into the company without them being convertible notes. But I have no problem telling you, absolutely, I have gotten some money out of the market in order to do that at times.
listen, I totally understand. I mean, anyone's going to sell something. I mean, I
Right.
would. I mean, that's totally understandable. But
Right.
from our standpoint, it's also like, okay, well, again, with all due respect, anyone that has held this stock or traded the stock, whatever the case is, there has been, every time there's a sense of, it goes up, it comes crashing down, and
Mm-hmm.
the shares always go up. We can see through dilutive market makers on level 2, if you have experience with OTC,
Mm-hmm.
where you could see that they're adding shares into the market or selling shares, whether it's you or them diluting shares, that I don't know, but it's one or the other. And we want to know is, when or at any point is that going to be turned off? Because they did the memorandum, or whatever the hell you call it, to where
Mm-hmm.
you can't raise the
Moratorium.
authorized shares, the moratorium. But that is, to my knowledge, if I'm correct, ending pretty soon, within the next like month or two. So is that going to be extended? Because I find it like almost coincidental where now that's going to end in a month, and now what, we're gonna double our shares and we're gonna dilute another 5 billion. Because like, what's the plan with that?
Okay, so let me just speak as in, because I'm a shareholder, so that means I have an interest in the stock price going up, of course. Okay, so let me just give you my perspective from my side of the house, okay, which is the same seat that you're sitting in, and then let me give you the perspective on how I read things. Number one, the memoriam has already been, it was canceled. Okay, Stacey issued that in her shareholder letter a couple of weeks ago now. I have not seen nor have anything of any authorized increases happening. Okay. But what I do know is part of the problem that TONR has had from the years when I was actually with the company and actually on the operations consulting side is there was too much money coming in that had strings attached to it, that when those strings were pulled, they hurt the company. Okay. Now, I do know that the company is not and has never been really sitting flush on cash, and so has used selling shares as a mean to finance the company. The problem that TONR had and the mistake that they made, whether they had to make the mistake, I don't know. I can't speak to that, but is that they got too much money too fast from the wrong people, okay, as opposed to getting money from the right people. Now, how do you dictate the terms? Who are the right people when your stock is trading in the gutter and you have all the expenses you have of trying to build a multi-million-dollar toy company? I don't know, so I can't blame them. But what I can say, I'm not concerned, because one of the things that I do know is that, and this will be disclosed soon, but I'm just speaking for me personally because I can do that. There is no toxic debt going to come into the market, and the $400,000 that was just forgiven, I actually forgave that. I'm the one that acquired that note. Okay. So that was a big ass chunk of money that was put out in order to do that, but it was done to protect the TONR stock and to protect the business. So I can tell you this, I can't speak for the company, but I absolutely unequivocally do not see any situation where you're going to have 5 billion shares coming in or anything. I think that Stacey put in the letter something like 825 million shares would be authorized for deals just like the one I'm talking to you about now, to keep it toxic. But if you look at the financials, there's a lot of bad debt out there, a lot of toxic debt. And I actually personally contacted the owner of that large note and worked out a deal with him specifically to protect this company, not only from dilution, but also from a lawsuit, because he could have sued the company a long time ago. And I will tell you now that he was very close to suing the company. So that's where our conversations heated up. And I was like, listen, let me buy it from you. And then I can control at least a whole lot of what's going on in there and help protect the stock. The ebbs and flows, nobody likes those, but I can tell you now, just by the way it looks in the market, that it is at least trading to the point of where it's just not tanking and going into the gutter. And I see progress. Okay. I don't want to be an insider. I don't want to be the CEO. I don't want to be an insider, but I really believe in this company to the point of where I'm personally taking the financial risk in order to help keep the company moving along with some other people. And we're not doing it in the way that it was done previously with all this toxic debt and convertible notes and stuff like that.
So just to recap, you're putting your money where your mouth is. You believe in what's happening, and you're doing something different than what's been done in the past to mitigate and stop the bleeding. Thank you.
I called a guy and said, listen, I called the company and said, I'll give up $400,000 to help TONR. Now, I don't know who does that, but
not a lot of people.
But I absolutely believe in this company. I absolutely believe in what it can do. And I think a penny a share is undervalued. I really, really do. but this stuff takes time, and to navigate out of some of these murky swamps that TONR got into back in 2014, 15, and 16 with these toxic lenders, it just has to be gotten out of. But you heard it live, guys. Trent Daniel gave up $400,000 to help you all. All right. And that's the belief that I have in this company.
Well, Paul's portfolio, thanks for bringing the questions. We really appreciated that. Thank you so much, Trent, for being transparent and responding from a personal angle in the situation. Is there any other questions that's had for TONR before we move on to the open mic session? OTC method, Shido, did you guys have a question before we transition?
No, that was excellent. Thank you so much.
That says a lot, doesn't it? Guys, thank you so much for joining us for a Q&A with TONR. So they do have a path forward. They are starting to generate revenue. They are moving into a different segment with the AI services that should be able to generate some exciting, what is it called, reoccurring revenue for the company on a monthly basis. So we look forward to seeing how things progress, and hopefully some of the money that's made will be able to be put towards canceling some of that debt rather than seeing it converted. So I'm excited to see how this transpires.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to jump in there and just add one thing, because Paul's question, I really do appreciate him asking that, okay? Guys, this is why decisions are made that sometimes you don't like. This is why Trent Daniel is not the CEO of the company, okay? Because if I were the CEO of the company, I would not have the flexibilities to do things like this that are good for the company, that are keeping toxic, crazy diluter shares coming into the marketplace. Okay. So I'm just saying is that I've seen a lot from Miss Melton, and I see it from Stacey and the staff. Just ease up, guys. Give them a break. Okay. Nobody's thin skinned here, but just stop thinking the worst, because I guarantee you there's no way that I'm going to take a risk for my family to the tune of $400,000 over people that I don't think operate above board and don't have the best interest in the company at heart. So, you know, I'm an old school guy, and I don't believe ladies should be talked to about that way or like that, and I just don't like it. So I'm not preaching anybody, but let's just give these ladies a chance to build something that we all can be excited about. And I guarantee you, I'm going to be on the sidelines cheering them on every single day in every way, and I will do everything in my power to help continue to build this company. And I will be buying more of that toxic debt as well to get it off the books. That's a guarantee.
Well, that's something I can get behind, man. Thank you so much, Trent. Guys, with that, we're going to transition to open mic. Thank you so much for joining us with TONR for a live Q&A on OTC Stock Talk.